You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of No More Future. Mary's side story. So y'all, let's go ahead and just jump right back in, shall we? Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes while it's saying you. Let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Okay. Alright. There used to be a time when I'd fantasize about this kind of opportunity. When I'd have signed any contract that was offered, if it meant just being a little more free with in my own body. But now, after everything I've seen, everything I've suffered, what is there left for me to experience but more pain? I exhale a long, tired sigh, surprised at myself for having been able to come this far and share this much. I was never this honest with anyone before. The people I spoke to often never made it this far, never let me be this brutal with them. It feels weirdly cathartic for some reason, being this honest, even if I do sound somewhat hysterical between all this madness. In the midst of my despair, my eyes inevitably meet hers once again. As I focus wholeheartedly on her stoic, unreadable expression, I can't help but wonder what mine must look like right now at this moment. Besides, even if I do choose to live on, would it even be worth it? You said it earlier yourself. There's people out there, the ones I grew up with, the ones I've lived with, the ones that'll surround me everywhere I go. They're prideful, apathetic, wicked. That isn't going to change just because I'm different. Me being different won't make them any less different. Deep down, they'll still be the same bastards who treat me like trash when I couldn't protect myself. I don't want to share a world with monsters like that anymore. Not even for a moment longer. After that last remark, everything goes quiet. I've said my piece. All of it. Something I never dared to do, even to myself. Perhaps because I thought I was being childish for thinking this stuff in my head. Perhaps because I was afraid of crying and never stopping afterwards, just like I ended up doing after all. Perhaps I'm simply a coward who deserves to be pointed at and laughed at for being so weak and powerless. Someone who doesn't deserve this woman's interest and intuition, let alone her offer of a better life. As I hear her cackle in my ears, I realize that she doesn't seem to think so, not even a little. Good Lord, Stephen, you really are too nice for your own good. She speaks with a tone I don't recognize, one that causes every hair on my fur to stand on edge, as if a bolt of lightning just coursed through me. I recoil against the pillow as far as I can, my face trembling with unspeakable fear. What are you talking about? The scientist shakes her head, a malevolent leer on her face. You want to leave this world so you don't have to share it with them? That's rather noble of you, wouldn't you say? Noble? I'm not being noble, Oh, but you are, after all. Why do you have to be the one who leaves? Why do you still believe that you're the problem in this equation? Why do you have to die just so they can live easier? If I thought this woman loved to dance around the point before, now I know that it was all an act. Her questions, which seemed to go nowhere earlier, are now direct, relentless, and remorseless. They prod for vulnerability, seeking out emotions I thought I'd long put to rest and simply won't. Shut up! Invariably, I'm at a loss for an answer, my gaze trying to avoid hers like the plague. I'm the one who was born this way, the wrong way. And who says yours is the wrong way to be born? Who even claim there's a wrong way to be born at all? Aside from those that couldn't care less about whether you live or die, I mean. She quiets me down immediately, unwilling to hear my excuses any longer. The ones who never spent a day in your shoes, who tormented you for being an inconvenience, and then made you feel guilty about it. I could feel my teeth grinding against one another underneath my cheeks, as anger and indignation shake my body to the core. I don't know why this is. I'm used to being unable to control my body, but my mind too? They wouldn't even let me die! I whispered to myself, with a venomous tone I didn't know I could still muster. Somehow the woman hears me nonetheless. All to ease their own conscience, not yours. And still, you care about them? No! That's the first answer that comes to my mind. The only answer that comes to my mind. I feel a burning rage coursing through me, lighting my body on fire from within, but it isn't aimed solely at the doctor any longer. Instead, it blindly shoots sparks and blazes everywhere around me, as though it could light this entire room on fire, maybe even the whole world. See, I think you've been too hard on yourself, feeling guilty over things you can't control, feeling inferior to people you couldn't help but look up to. You might have even gone somewhere, done something with your life, however limited. If only they cared about you half as much as you do them. All the while the feline speaks clearly and calmly, almost matter-of-factly, cooling my flaming temper with her stone-cold words. I hang from her frosted lips like a piercing, feeling every word reverberate through me as though it came from within my own throat. You didn't do anything wrong, Stephen. You didn't decide to be treated this way. You didn't choose to be born in this world. No, not even the people who hurt you this much did. They're not to blame after all, just playing the hand they were dealt, living effortlessly in a world that was almost tailor-made to suit their needs. She stops and she immediately turns to look at me. Her eyes look so twisted, so thoroughly deranged that I struggle to keep looking at them as she talks. I think that it's really the world who's at fault here. The world who forces people to live lives they never asked for, in bodies they never chose. The world who judges you for things you can't control, and insists you can take the blame for it. The world who rewards those who never had to struggle a single day in their lives, over those who must fight with everything they have just to survive. She walks up to me and lays her gentle hand on top of my beating chest. Who would ever want to live in an unfair world like that? Not I answer without a sound. The confusion in my head, a deep vortex of uncertainty, where I couldn't make heads or tails of anything at all, it's gone now. My every unknown fear cataloged and sorted, my every unspoken worry neatly organized so that I can see it for what it is. For the first time in so long, I can see clearly, and the clean picture is as grand and beautiful as it is terrifying. That's why I'm offering you this opportunity. That's why I want you to be by my side on this journey. To make a world where everyone gets to choose who they are, and how they are treated. A new world devoid of pride and unfairness. A world for synthetics, like you could choose to be. It's appealing for sure. More appealing than a cure for all the illnesses that plague me. More appealing than the death I thought I craved for the better part of my existence. An answer so ludicrous I never even considered it. A solution so profane it goes against all logic and common sense. And yet she has this way about her. This ability to make her mad ideas sound so truthful. Her unorthodox beliefs so coherent. My own fury so rightfully deserved. It's not like I'm asking you to help me for my own sake. I'm asking for yours. For your satisfaction and your satisfaction alone. She chuckles, and the sound of her laughter alone is enough to silence my every retort. After all, you don't want a normal life, do you? Not anymore. You want to live in a world where those bastards no longer exist. A world where they can no longer hurt you. A world where everyone gets exactly what they deserve. I can give it to you, you know. The kind of world you desire. Hell, you'll even be able to seize it yourself if that's what you wish. After all, the only thing more satisfying than getting to live forever is that you get to watch everyone else who you doubted die. A chilling quiet takes over the room as the scientist finishes her spiel. I'm not sure I like this side of Mary. This is very scary. Scary Mary. For but a moment, all I can think about is the beat of my restless heart and the coldness of my own breath. Until slowly I hear myself laughing. It starts out as nothing more than a chuckle, barely audible even to a trained listener, and it quickly spirals into a maddened cacophony, ending with a silence once and for all. Both the one in the room and in my head. Are you the devil? I ask as the laughter begins to die down. The woman, Mary, takes it in stride. That's quite the compliment, kid. Can't say I've ever been called that before, to my knowledge. Maybe you're finally ready to be tempted by my offer. A straight chuckle escapes my lips once again as I cough out a response. Tempted? I think we're way past that already. Gotta say, I never imagined there could be people like you out there amidst that endless sea of bullies and cowards. Someone who finally gets me. How could I ever say no to someone like that? Like I almost did not even 10 minutes ago, I jokingly answer in my own head. What an embarrassing turn of events that would have been. No, I get it now. This is the only choice I can make. The only choice I could ever make. And I couldn't be more thrilled. You want to set the world ablaze? Torch it to the ground and rebuild it from scratch? I'd gladly hand you the brazier, if you'll let me. I'm tired of feeling like a powerless victim, like a nameless amoeba in a world too big and uncaring for his own good. If you can really give me back control of my body, of my life, if you can really punish everyone who wronged me, what are we waiting for? The smirk on Mary's face condenses down to a simple smile as she retrieves her tablet from the top of my chest. Honestly, I'd all but forgotten that thing was there. Oh, we don't have to wait at all, Stephen. If you're so excited to begin, we can begin the procedure. Even now. As her finger slides the screen of her device, I hear the sound of what seems to be a barrier collapsing behind me. One by one, the walls of what appeared to be a simple hospital room fall over, revealing themselves to be as frail and brittle as paper itself. The ceiling, on the other hand, disappears entirely, as though it was never there to begin with. The new room I find myself in is larger, darker, and far more foreboding than the one before, like a mysterious crypt hidden deep underground. The sight of multiple researchers staring down at me from beyond glass windows and cameras hints that I may not have been as alone with Mary as I once thought I was. That's sure I wasn't going to say no. Of course. If I weren't sure If I weren't sure of myself, do you really think I'd start working on a project as crazy as this? There isn't room for doubt in my line of work, not the least. Her smile widens once again, cheekily. Besides, even if I was wrong, what were you gonna do? Walk out on your own? It's funny. For the first time in my life, I find that joke funny. I must laugh even. It's only fair, after all. After today, no one will be able to joke about that anymore. I suppose not. I made my choice anyway. How long until we can do this? Not much. Just need to warm up the machine. Re-review the code to make sure everything works as intended. Should only take a few minutes. Well, that's good. I don't want to wait to give me cold feet at the last moment. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be fine. All you need is something to do while you wait. And it just so happens that I have a lot of legal nonsense I need you to sign first. She pulls out a large and apparently very heavy stack of papers from somewhere beneath my bed, and ceremoniously lays them by my side. I may not feel anything from my neck down, but I'm sure glad she didn't slam all that stuff on my chest this time. Don't mean to be rude, but I motion my eyes to my limp arms, which are still covered in some bothersome blanket. How am I gonna sign any of this? Mary's eyes widen like marbles at my question, seemingly taken by surprise. Oh yeah, that might be a little complicated. Oh, well, we'll just have to get a little creative like we always do. She laughs awkwardly as if this were all just a joke, but I feel my own chuckles are a little more nervous than hers. Might be a little late to start worrying about it, but just what in the world did I get myself into? No way, you really forgot? Natalie asks on the other end of the call, as bewildered as only she can be. Yep, not my proudest moment, I'll admit. I guess I forgot a few small details in the midst of that big speech of mine. It happens to the best of us. Clearly. Now's my turn to chuckle, and Natalie's quick to follow. We've been on the phone for a while now, chatting about this and that. The topic of my latest hire into the synthetic program came up spontaneously, and I couldn't resist spilling all the beans about that. We're both supposed to be on the clock right now, each of us busy with our own assignments, but the Labrador really needed a break from hers, or so she claimed at least, and I happily obliged. God knows it'll take forever to sort through these papers on my desk anyway. One of the worst things about sending Natalie away on her assignment is that I can't have her do this right now. Worst decision I ever made by a long shot. It sucks I couldn't be in the room with you when that happened. You needed his physical signature for legal reasons, right? How did that work out? Oh, it was a mess, let me tell you. Unsurprisingly, the poor kid never had to use an actual pen before, so I already knew it was going to be trouble. At first he suggested he use his mouth to hold the pen, but that just sounded nasty. After some brainstorming, we hooked him up to a retinal scanner, then used the laser machine to write down the signature with his eyesight. Ingenious as always, aren't you? Hardly. I'm sure I could have come up with much better ways of going about it, had I not been so flustered. Come on, I know you, Mary. I can imagine you were taken aback by you forgetting that detail, but you couldn't have been that embarrassed. Natalie sounds real convinced of herself. Smart girl indeed. I had met defeat with a tired sigh, as I refocused my attention onto my papers. That's not the only reason I was embarrassed, Nats. Oh? Now that I've piqued her interest, I might as well be honest with her. I still don't feel like sorting through these things anyway. I mean, you heard what I said, right? The only thing more satisfying than living forever is that you get to watch everyone else die. What the hell was I even thinking when I said that? I feel my cheeks growing redder as I shake my head in disbelief. Things I say sometimes, just to get those kids to let me help them. There are times when I wonder if I really have turned into the devil, like Stephen said. I've said such wild things in the past, and with such conviction in my voice. How long will it take until I actually start believing them? Natalie takes a moment to reply, lost in thought as she so often is. I appreciate the quiet for as long as it lasts, but I appreciate the moment she breaks it all the more. Well, at least we know that if you grow tired of synthetics, you always have a great career as a zombie sniper villain. Ah. Her joke comes completely out of nowhere, and before I know it, I'm rolling on the floor with laughter, my phone slipping out of my hand while I wet soap. No way! I'm way higher class than that. You sure? That eagle of yours, I'm sure you'd fit right in. Please. As the laughter finally subsides, I hear Natalie speak once again. In all seriousness, I don't think you're as bad as you think you are, Mary. Sure, the things you say sometimes are kinda... out there. I was thinking more along the lines of ethically questionable. Oh, yeah, fair enough. But look on the bright side. You got that kid to become a synthetic. You got him to live instead of letting him die. He might not have had the best of intentions when he agreed to it, but all that matters right now is that you saved his life, Mary. That isn't something a bad person would do, in my opinion. I feel my lips curling into a smile beneath my snout. It comes so naturally, so spontaneously, that I almost don't notice it at first. This Labrador definitely has a way with words, I have to give her that. I have to say, that's quite a way to view things. They teach you how to be so morally flexible in college. I can practically hear Natalie shivering on the other end of the call. I really don't want to talk about it. I thought you knew that already. Oh, yeah, right. I forgot about it. I'm really sorry, Nats. I didn't mean to remind you about all that. Real smooth, Mary. As usual. It's alright. I know you always have a lot on your minds with so many people to keep track of. You're bound to slip up sometimes. Yeah, don't get me started on that. Jasper keeps sticking his nose up my ass like usual, making mountains out of molehills and asking for shit he doesn't need just to waste my time. Case in point, all this nonsense in front of me right now. Why the world does he need to know what I'm spending the project's budget on, and why do I gotta write it out for him? He sure is nosy for a bumbling cash cow. I swear, doesn't he have more pressing matters to attend to? Making sure the economy doesn't crash and burn, stroking a couple hundred managers' egos, wild shit like that. Mary, don't say that! He's your boss! Aren't you supposed to be nicer when referring to... He's not my boss. Never has been, never will. I feel my tone become a little colder as I say that, and I quickly try to correct it. Don't want to scare Natalie away over nothing. And even if he was, it wouldn't change a thing. The moment people start withholding the truth from one another is the moment all truly is lost. All trust is lost. And working together is all a matter of trust. Efficiency, effectiveness, good results, all this and more stems from there. You have trust in Jasper? I immediately snicker at the idea. Yeah, I trust him to be a fucking dumbass all the time. Mary! Labrador protests, but deep down I know she doesn't like that guy either. Always looking like someone stuck a pointy stick up his butt. Not my fault the guy can't get a girlfriend to save his life. Boyfriend. Partner. Hell, I ain't even ever seen him hang with anyone, period. Not that I'm surprised, given his disposition. Anyway, like I was saying, don't be afraid to be honest with me, alright? Just like I am with you. We're friends, Natalie, and that goes beyond silly workplace hierarchies and all this bureaucratic nonsense. It takes a while for the canine to react after my impromptu speech. For a moment, I thought I might have short-circuited her for real. In that case, can I be honest with you about something? I raise an eyebrow at her question. Sure, go ahead. I'm not liking the people you're having me keep an eye on. I feel my gaze lower to the ground as I immediately understand what she's talking about. They seem normal at first glance, but every time they open their mouth to talk about synthetics and what we're doing, they all sound so unhinged. I get that they kinda have to be, given the product that they're working on, but still. Natalie sighs, seemingly unsure. Almost makes what you told Steven sound like a children's bedtime story. I start scratching the back of my neck, feeling quite nervous all of a sudden. Those guys over at Ares Pharmaceuticals might be smart, but they also know how to be real creepy sometimes. I hope they didn't give that poor girl nightmares with their endless doomer talk. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!